Hello and welcome back. Do I need to put on my sunglasses and turn my hat back around? No, but the sun is in my way right now. But I'm actually in the book of Romans 8 right today. We're actually going to be looking at a passage in the Bible for a change, and in our service today, we were looking at something else, and we got reference to Romans 8, a verse out of here, and it was just 8:1, but I kept reading. I read 8, just about the whole chapter, but today's video is really going to be Romans 8, 1 through 11. So let me just go ahead and just read the word, and we'll go from there. And really, this is the power of sanctification. This may be a good way to maybe put the bow on the package, so to speak, for my change playlist series that I've been doing. That seems to tie pretty well together. I didn't really do some of this in light of any sort of overflowing arc, but it goes pretty well together, I will admit. Here we go. Romans 8:1. There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. For the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus has set you free from the law of sin and of death. For what the law could not do, weak as it was through the flesh, God did, sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh and as an offering for sin. He condemned sin in the flesh, in order that the requirement of the law might be fulfilled in us, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. For those who are according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, but those who are in according to the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For the mind set on the flesh is death, but the mind set on the Spirit is life and peace. Because the mind set on the flesh is hostile toward God, for it does not subject itself to the law of God, for it is not even able to do so. And those who are in the flesh cannot please God. However, you are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God dwells in you. But if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he does not belong to him. And if Christ is in you, though the body is dead because of sin, yet the Spirit is alive because of righteousness. But if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Jesus Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who indwells in you. So, I could redo that. I'm not worried about it. Therefore, there's no censure, there's no punishment for those who has Jesus in their heart, who is walking the righteous path, who wants to do better, who wants to be like Christ as he was on the earth. That is what 8:1 is all about, and it's a very strong verse. It's a very strong passage that many have referenced throughout the years. Now, in a way, the word flesh, the way it keeps popping up in here, really is almost a synonym for the word sin. And it could be any sin or of the world. And because this also illuminates how, let's go to, verse 8:3, in the likeness of sinful flesh. Well, this is letting us know Jesus was a man. He walked with us. He was in bodily form. He physically walked the earth. And it was thanks to him that the law was fulfilled. So while we may be here walking in the flesh, in the world, in the sinful world with sin, there is still hope. We can still have life. We can still be free as long as He does dwell within us. And that is the whole part of this. And it's a very, I almost said illuminating, but I do say that a lot, don't I? Hopeful passage here that lets us know that if you ask Him into your heart and you follow Him and you have that relationship and you're growing your relationship and you're growing people to come to Christ, which is the workings of how things are, and how things should be in this world, because we are, in a sense, all broken in this broken world, that we are striving to be perfect of that which we are not. Like I said in the previous video, in my point of view, in a way, when you're born, no matter how you were born, that's the most perfect you can ever be. And through this passage, going from Romans 8:1 through verse 8:11, it's very redundant. And if we go to, let's say, verse 8:8 here, and those who are in the flesh cannot please God. Well, if we just go back one to Romans 7:5, it's almost the same thing, talking about while we were in the flesh, the sinful passions which were aroused by the law were at work in the members of our body to bear fruit for death. So it's, it's all about, what do we want to grow? We want to grow a relationship with Christ, or do we want to grow a relationship in sin? And because they keep saying the word flesh over and over here, I'm almost keep thinking about, sexual sins and sexual desires, which can be both heterosexual and homosexual passions, which, while I might have had an issue with same-sex attraction years ago, which is, I won't say it's completely gone, but when you walk with Christ and you read the Bible daily and you pray and you want to be like Him, the less these temptations are. I'm just about not the same person that even started this simple series going back to 2013 in front of a TV as a fat white man wearing a white shirt, sunglasses, my hat backwards. I don't have much hair left. But you get my meaning. We can change. You can change. It takes the catalyst of accepting Christ in your heart, to believing in Him, knowing that He was upon this earth and died and resurrected. He didn't do it for an ideology. He didn't do it in spite. He did it for love. He did it for every single one of us. And it's just so powerful. We just have to realize this. In verse 10, if Christ is in you, though your body is dead, are we alive or are we living? Basically, we are spiritually dead until we believe in Him and we ask Him into our heart, because of sin. Yet the Spirit is alive because of righteousness. In righteousness and having Christ dwelling within you can be a mystery to people that don't believe it. Can be a complete mystery to non-believers. If we even go to Colossians 1, verse 27, to whom God willed to make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Through Him we can have hope. Through Him we have riches waiting for us in heaven. And that's why the afterlife is mentioned a lot in here. And it's not so. We are such temporary creatures. We're not going to be here forever. And so we have to come to a realization, what do you believe in? What do you believe in? Where is your love? Where is your passion? And because we can be so content and spread love and spread the good word and spreading the gospel and helping others with food and water or shelter or financially when we can, it's a mystery to people that don't believe. While people that are non-believers can do some of these things too, they may not quite understand the full joy of why, as Christians, we love doing this stuff. And I've mentioned this before, many people confuse Christianity, real Christians, as a cult. I don't see how having a one-on-one relationship with Jesus can be a cult, unless there's something certain churches are doing wrong. And my aunt and uncle did go to a church somewhere up, I won't even say what part of the nation, that they used to live in, 40 years ago, 30, 40 years ago. And my parents went to go visit them, and they're like, my aunt and uncle's, oh, you got to come to church with us. Oh, you got to, it's great, and blah, blah, blah. And I can't remember the entire story, but my parents came out, and they went somewhere to eat or something, and my mom and dad were just kind of shocked, and they're like, this isn't what you think it is. These people are a cult. And they had words, and they bantered, and they debated. Things got heated. But sure enough, the eyes were opened on my aunt and uncle, and they realized, whoa. And it was hard for them to get out of that church. They couldn't just drop and get out. It was hard for them to leave that church once they realized it was not Christian based. It was more cultish based. When the gospel is not being preached, when the good word is not being read, when a church is not Christ centered, then there's issues. And I didn't even mean to get into that in this video. It just sort of organically came out. Let's see here. Because I was really looking at like verses 5 and 6 and wanted to delve into the sort of the sexual desires of the flesh because of the wording here in our Bibles along these lines for Romans 8. And I just didn't quite go in that direction. I apologize. But yeah, for those who are according to the flesh, set their minds on the things of the flesh. Their focus is elsewhere. It could be, like we used to joke in the 70s and 80s. Oh, they're using the brain in their pants. Whether it's a guy or a girl, doesn't matter. We need to use our minds. We are intelligent people. We know we have choices. And I'm even still trying to teach members of my own family, you have choices. We don't have to do it this way. There is another choice. And whether it's someone I'm having an issue with on an ideological level, or something as simple as trying to get something done in the house, or the method of way we need to do something and drive from one place to another to be able to get stuff done, get somewhere, drop someone off, pick somebody up. There's always options. There's always another way. Sorry, I should have parked in a different angle. I mentioned, my sin earlier in this video. I made a choice. I didn't want to go down that lifestyle. I did not want to go that way. And I'm like, so I chose God. I chose Christ. That was a long time ago. And even before I realized I had what I had, or one of many temptations, I'll put it that way, I was tempted today for chocolate. Excuse me. Oh, my drink's gone. But for chocolate, I love chocolate, but it doesn't like me anymore. I don't know if it's my A1C, my sugar levels, my diabetes, or other issues I might have as a result of diabetes. But I look like somebody I knew. Or no. That it doesn't like me. And I was tempted when I was at the store to get chocolate because, oh gosh, I miss chocolate so much. I ended up getting a little something that was kind of chocolatey, but not really. And it sufficed. But oh gosh, they had a Hershey aisle. Let me tell you, they had a Hershey aisle. In gamers need Christ. That's been my name from the get-go for almost 7 to 8 years here. And games can be tempting, and I don't really get to play a whole lot of games lately. I actually did last night for a change. It's October, so whip out a Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the 360 or the Saturn or whatever. Yeah, I've got it on the import Saturn. But these games are kind of fun, and you don't have to play for very long. You can stop, you can save, pause, whatever. But we all have temptations, and it's in those realms that we need to learn. Whoa, I want that. I want this. I want that. That sounds good. That looks wonderful. Ooh, pleasure. What kind of triggers do I want that I want to trigger that I just have to have? You don't need those things. You don't need those things. You only need to get what you need, not what you want. And that's a big issue. And that's the main issue. And what have I said so many times before on this channel? Jesus came to teach us how to live. He came to teach us self-control. And that's what this has been all about. And so when He is in you, when you believe in Him and accept Him, and He dwells in you, and the change may not be immediate, but the more you read the Bible, the more you walk with Him, the more you live with a Christ-like mind, things happen, things can change. So, and if Jesus is in you through the body, though the body is dead because of sin, yet the spirit is alive because of righteousness. We are spiritual creatures. We may look a bit funny, but we are spiritual creatures within every body that we have. And our spirits are beautiful. We can't see our spirit. We can only see our physical appearance. Because of our physical appearances, we might be judging each other to some extent. Something that we don't need to do. Sometimes it is hard not to do. So that's why it's so important we need Him in our heart. That's why it's so important that we need Him. And that's what is so important with Romans 8, is that through Him we have hope. Through Him we can have glory. Through Him we can have joy. Through Him anything is possible. Through Him temptations can be quelled. That is the ultimate change. and he can change us. He can change you as he's changed me. And I'm still not a perfect person. Far from it. I give an ugly look to one of my kids, and oh my goodness, I don't hear the end of it. Yet I didn't say a word. Not a word. And I guess I just don't have a poker face. But you know, it's these things through life in our relationships, which can be very finicky from time to time. And if you do make that choice, and you choose life, and you choose Christ, and you choose to have and make a family, it's powerful. Let me tell you, it might get a little rough when your kids are teenagers, but it's powerful. Life can change you too. If you happen to marry a person of the opposite sex, excuse me, I'm zipping up my Bible, and y'all have kids, and you're able to have kids, and you hold that newborn in your arms, and you realize how precious life really is, and wondering where on earth did this little girl or boy come from. And that's sometimes may even change your whole outlook on life, even your possible ideology with blinders on, the world ideology, which can be very hurtful, very strong, and without God. With that, I've gone way long, but thank you for listening. And I actually would suggest that even if you don't want to watch my mug, I've actually been listening to some of my old videos from time to time, just to remind myself of some of the things I've mentioned and gone through, and then try to explain. And I'm not Matt Whitman, let me tell you. I was actually thinking about this driving here to make this video, was that I was led so long, 7 to 8 years ago, to try to make little videos about biblical references. And not only teaching myself this stuff, but actually trying to teach you about some of this stuff. I had no idea who Matt Whitman was. The 10-minute Bible hour, I don't even think was around back then. But if you watch him, try to get in some of my videos too, which aren't that great, nowhere near as professional as his are, and he's just hilarious. And I love his pop references too. Of course, he's been to seminary and I have not. But thank you for watching. Thank you for following along. And like I was trying to say is that, you know, sometimes just listening to these videos with just your earbuds on, and you don't even have to look at me, can still be really interesting as you listen along, read along with your Bible, hear what I have to say, even when I mess up. And with that, thanks again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following. I really appreciate everybody that has followed me from the very beginning. You are loved. You all are loved. From whether you don't like Gamers Need Christ in my title, and hey, I've even checked your channel out too, dude. And it's a neat channel. It's a neat channel. He's been around for a while, and I think he's younger than me, and most people are. In the card making homemade kind of world. But thanks for watching. Have a blessed day. We'll see you next time.